Well, good for Francis and Katie. I know they developed a nice little group there with that woman and probably regulars who show up.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. Well, it's a good thing Phil and Francis didn't try to go to Santa Barbara about a week ago. They were having kind of a tough go there, I guess. On the news, they were saying in one day they had a tornado warning, a flood warning, and an earthquake warning.
Right.
Oh, people are probably wondering, what?
What up?
What else? What else could happen here?
What up?
Mm-hmm. So, did you send to me already?
Can you believe it?
Yeah, there it is. There you are.
Isn't that nice?
Creation.
Holy creation, Batman.
Mm-hmm. Just a little more water.
Greetings, my divine and amazing friends. Thank you very much for coming to play. As Jan says, let's all dance in the light. And we will dance in the light of the star tetrahedron, the energy wave of the Christ form. And so we'll be talking a little bit about this particular structure this evening. It's, of course, the mystical marriage of divine masculine triangulation above and divine feminine triangulation below. As it spins rapidly, it opens a vortex in the very middle, which is within the heart chakra, and then arising forth is the spirit of source. So we are making literally ourselves as creator beings. I think I've shown this image to most everyone. From out of the void, all creation arose forth. And in a singular way, we have the same opening within the heart chakra once the Christ field, a field of consciousness and light, is created around, within, and through us, and then literally sourced and emanates from inside out. And so we become co-creative beings within what we call source or divine consciousness. So in the very beginning of creation, there was just the void. There was no thing yet, just the ubiquitous void throughout all creation. And there was no time, no space. And so within no time and no space, void still was a field of consciousness, a field of consciousness that existed all through the void, the deep darkness. And of course, it says in the Bible, there was the darkness of the void, and then Source or God brought forth light, and it separated the night from the day. But the creation itself in the beginning, just a field of consciousness. This field of consciousness over eons and eons and eons of time, begin to imagine, to image in, and through imagination, Source literally was able to imagine universes, worlds, galaxies, beings. All creation was cognized by Source through imagination. It's much like if you close your eyes, and I'm not inviting you necessarily to close your eyes, but if you close your eyes and you simply turn your consciousness, your awareness up into the cavity of the mind brain, and you sit quietly together there, and you imagine something or you have a thought. So as you're resting there within the darkness and you have an image or an imagination, who had that imagination? Who is this I that is sitting in the cavity of the void within the mind brain and thinking thoughts, having imagination? And with imagination, can begin then to literally bring that imagination out into form and create form. It is the I that is you, there's the I that is I, but there's only really one I. It's the same I, the same consciousness that existed within the void as an ocean of eternal creation. It was able to begin to separate itself into smaller aspects of the living waters, the ocean. And so each of us is part of that same ocean of creation. So even though there is the I that has identity here, the I within me is Source. The I within you is Source. There is only one I. It has learned through the void how to imagine all creation. It learned how to imagine that aspects of itself could be separated out and then over time, hidden within form. And so this is exactly who you and I are. We are the one I. We have been hidden, so to speak, within form, covered with materiality, and then we believe that we're separate, that we're no longer the one I, and then we search for it. And this is where humanity is now, mostly in their spiritual development. They're all looking for source, they're looking for the creator, they're looking for that one, but it's already within. You don't have to search for it, you don't have to try and find it. Yes, I agree, the mind can begin to understand through information more about how this great being, the creator, manifested light into materiality, how it began to separate itself into individual eyes that are still the one ocean. But once the mind understands that, it goes no further. The mind is done. It can't have you become God. It can only think about what God's source is, and it can want to examine it for eternity. And you still will not become the one. It's inside. And so this is the beauty of our work with the star tetrahedron, that when we were separated into form, we were, of course, the masculine of power and the feminine of emotion and feeling. And the soul, which was then created by the one that we are, in order to build within form over and over materiality that we could begin to examine masculine, we could begin to examine feminine. And as we examined it, we then gathered information, and it was built into the soul that each one of us as an individual I is. But that which is still within inside is the one consciousness. The soul then, at this particular time, is now waking up to realize that it can now begin to awaken itself within form and begin to bring back together in a mystical marriage the masculine, the feminine, and create then the star tetrahedron, which is again a form of consciousness and light that we then hone and refine around us. And as it is beginning to be manifest, then the doorway opens within the heart back into the void. You have found yourself. You have found home. You have found the identity that is all identities within all creation, be it animal, be it man, be it insect, be it bird, be it reptile. There is only consciousness within all creation. The beauty of it, of course, is that as Source, the One, imagined for eon and times and created through imagination, literally the cosmos within, the void within no creation, it then had to find a way to reflect that into form. And so Source began to cognize that if I reflect myself, a positive I, God, and then reflect out a negative mirror, I can begin to mirror myself off of myself. So here we have the positive of the masculine, and here is the negative of the feminine, but it's simply a mirror. We call it the womb of creation. The mother is the womb because it is able to reflect all that is within the darkness of the void. The void can't manifest, it can just reflect itself. But then there was created a third something that then stood out here as a neutral, if you will, vibration that could examine source and it could examine mother. We call it the sun. And so it was then the father, through the reflection of the mother, was able to gather the light of the sun and then create the star tetrahedron, which could then begin literally to call source from inside out of the void, reflected into form, and then light became manifest. And then after eons and eons of literally source now emanating within materiality, creating stars, creating planets, planets becoming alive with life, then source then began to differentiate the one mind into smaller minds. And we then entered into those dense worlds of form. And over time now, we begin to wake up inside and we realize once again, I am source, I am the one. But because we now have the open doorway within us back into the void, we can then focus the light of the mind. We can then reflect within the void whatever still is within creation, wanting and waiting to come forth into manifestation. As we hold the light of the mind within source of the void, the reflection arises forth. The star tetrahedron then holographically creates it to be manifest, and then source arising forth as life gives life to the holographic form. And so we literally become creator beings, manifesting more of that which we already are. You are source, I am source. There's only one I throughout all creation, through the entire cosmos, through all universes you could ever imagine, through every creator thing that's ever happened. It's simply consciousness creating itself to be materiality, that it can literally through materiality take part of itself and get inside and then wake up within it and play with materiality, which is also source. It's also the one I. It just happens to be light densified into form, that we agree that we will all feel that it's separate and that it's dense. A true master, though, is able to see and feel the body as light once again. But more importantly, because they have been able to create that union, the Christ field within them, they become more than even the body. They become the creator being that is now calling source from inside out. And so this is really the exciting place that we are in creation today. We're moving away from all the old ideas and images of religion. There was nothing wrong with it. It is all part of the evolution of consciousness through man, woman, to begin to keep asking, to keep trying to seek what is this great source world and who is it that's the creator? Well, they first called it God, then they called it Yahweh, maybe they called it Brahma, then maybe they called it Allah. Keep giving it names in order to try and have understanding of what is the one source. But here we are today realizing that all of those names are simply names for the one consciousness. It's all the same. The other beautiful thing about it is Source simply emanated all of itself out as love and created the ideation of Allah, the ideation of God, the ideation of Brahma, the ideation of Krishna. All God simply showing and playing emanations to give humanity opportunities to understand more about itself through names. But now we come to the point where we realize it's no longer about naming it, it's about becoming it. And so we are at the cusp, as we all well know, of the great transition of the human into the human divine, where we begin to manifest and create the star tetrahedron as a living quality within man and woman. Now, we are at the very beginning of that, and so we are the first seeds. And as first seeds, it is a challenge, I agree, to move through materiality and to find the emotion and the feelings of separation, and then to keep honing and refining and loving them and allowing them to then disappear, because that's what love does. It simply takes anything that is dark and separate, finds and feels what within it wasn't loved, part of the self, part of God I am. And as love is there once again, it gives up the separation, and sadness and grief and loneliness and fear and anger and violence simply disappears. And so there's no need to go out and fight against the world anymore. There's no need to go out and, be angry or disappointed at the world anymore. It's been a perfect place of the revelation of consciousness. And those who are still trapped in that old paradigm, they will fight each other. They will have judgments and criticisms, and they will dislike and hurt and harm. But it's done. It's falling away. It's beginning to disintegrate. We can see that. If we're still part of the dislike or the judgment or the criticism, we're still trapped in the old. It still has us. We keep turning our attention to what is it that we decide to see. I decide to see love. I decide to see harmony. I choose wholeness. I choose oneness. I choose grace. I choose compassion. And as we keep focusing and choosing those things, we are giving light to those things. And as we give light to them, they grow and they increase and they flower and they flourish. And pretty soon those flowers begin to spread around the world and the world begins to wake up. We don't need to fight against anything. That's giving light to the fight, to separation, to something's wrong, which then with the light of the mind creates more separation. Something's wrong. We need to fight more. Whatever the mind focuses upon, it simply increases. This is our daily choice. Will I look at that which is the old, the separate, judge it, criticize it, dislike it? Or will I know what I am, what is in my heart, the doorway to source I already am? And will I hold my mind focused upon the joy, the magic, the possibilities, the imagination of what that feels, looks like, and becomes? Just as in the very beginning of creation, the void, source, so we begin to imagine creation. And it is imagined, it then became real. As Einstein said, whatever you imagine becomes real. Imagine distrust, imagine dislike, imagine problems, imagine lack of prosperity. It will flourish in your reality. And you might say, I'm a victim to lack of prosperity. I'm a victim to not enough. I'm a victim to someone taking my land or, hurting my property. It's not possible. We simply emanate out our vibration. We now know this. We simply emanate out our vibration and attract back to us who and what we are. When we feel some loneliness, we don't focus upon it. We realize that we may have attracted something into our life that, so to speak, makes us feel lonely or makes us feel abandoned. But then we realize, oh, it's not them. They're simply an image, a false image that I've created upon the screen of my illusion. And I will feel what inside me feels abandoned. I will find this childlike part of me that was born in love, but then unconditional love wasn't there. And so separation occurred. No error, simply the opportunity for us to become the master of separation, which is so important upon this time on the planet. Because when we love, separation falls away within. When we love out there, compassion, separation falls away. We don't have to fight what's going on in the world. We don't sit on our butts and do nothing. We have great joy in action and compassion and opportunities to grow. There's a wonderful group up in Carbondale where I just was, and they're finding all the different flowers and all the different things that really help all of the things that, work with the, bees and, the hummingbirds and They're doing a marvelous job of creating opportunities for life to flourish. Amazing people doing amazing things up there. I applaud what they're doing. They're focusing upon the possibilities of what is good, what is graceful, what is magic. So wonderful opportunities for us on the planet. And because the light on the planet is becoming so strong, it is then now gathering with us. And so as we turn our attention to something, we have more light, not just my individual light anymore, but we begin to create group consciousness. The group consciousness, as we focus upon joy and peace and happiness and compassion, we have many, many more individuals joining with us, because there is only one I, and that is the I that's within you, that's within me, that is within every human being and every animal and whale and dolphin and every insect on the planet. It's God, it's Source, it's you. And so love then awakens all of it back into life. Very exciting times, my friend. And I'm so pleased that you could join on this journey. Excuse me. So, one of the things, of course, that assists us greatly in our spiritual work is our breath. The reason being because we are beginning to understand that when I'm breathing within the star tetrahedron and within the Christed work, I'm literally breathing Source, that which I am, from inside out. So you're breathing yourself into manifestation. What a joy. You're looking for more of you, it's inside. And so it's become quiet, and with a deep belly breathing, we're breathing in oxygen, but equally important, we're literally breathing Source, God I am, into this dimension. And with a gentle exhale, it becomes sparkling, effervescent, liquid, flowing golden light, just like the sun. It flows out all around us, flows through the tissues of the body, restructures DNA, begins to enlighten code the body. Enlighten code. So let's do about 5 minutes of deep breathing as we close the eyes and feel the body relaxing. Becoming aware of the breath. We like to have the spine nice and straight. It is the rod of initiation around which the star tetrahedron turns. You can imagine there's a string at the top of the head gently pulling you up. And with each slow, deep inhalation, summoning Source, the great being I am, you are, from out of the doorway. You choose to see and feel it as sparkling, effervescent light within and all around, and it shall be so. And we breathe, bringing light from the open doorway into this dimension. Slow, deep purposeful breath, calling from the open doorway, the I that is you, the one breath of all creation. I am the light. I am not looking for the light. I breathe and I am the light. The one and only I am, originating within the void, manifesting all creation to play, to dance in the light. I am that I am, and I breathe. And I love, and I know I am. Calling source from the open doorway within the heart. And a couple of more deep breaths, calling God, Source I am, from the open doorway within the heart. And then slowly and easily, slowly coming back into the now. So I will take you through the sequencing of the star tetrahedron. It is a form of consciousness and light. It's not a physical structure, it's simply light and consciousness in a form that the inner mind can imagine and it can see, and we can begin to feel it in its movement around, through, and within. And we feel the doorway open, and we then literally can feel ourselves calling and summoning Source. And as it touches the facets of the spinning star, it becomes light radiant. It was through the star tetrahedron, symbolically called the sun, that Source was able to bring light from out of the void into creation. This is why the great being Jesus said, "I am the light," but the key phrase was, I am the light. He was not saying the personal man Jesus, but the Christ is the I am, the star tetrahedron that brings Source into manifest creation. So let's go ahead and close the eyes and feel the body relaxing. We slowly bring our attention between the eyebrows. Imagination. We imagine that we could draw a line straight back. Within the approximate center point of the head, we ignite the light, imagination. I see, I feel the light of the soul, filling the mind, with the light I am. Gently bringing attention, light to the heart chakra at the sternum. I illuminate and imagine that which is already existing, the star tetrahedron, and holding attention here, I see it turning. And as I see, feel its movement around and within, I feel it opening the sacred doorway within the heart. Light eternal, the light of Source, God I am, arising forth, touching the facets of the spinning star, emanating light, divine and sacred, out into the world. The light that will flower a new heaven and earth, a new world, peace on earth. Let's sit quietly together and I will join with you, creating light manifest within and all around. And very easily now, slowly coming back into the moment of the now. Well, I want to thank all of you for coming and dancing in the light. We'll be back in September. In the meantime, enjoy your meditation. If you have any questions or things you'd like to discuss about your meditation or spiritual reality, let me know. And of course, hold the mind focused upon what would give you joy and beauty and happiness and peace and prosperity. And it will be so. Pretty easy. All right, my friends, thank you very much. Good night.